In this video, we'll be covering what you should be eating before tournaments, during tournaments, and after tournaments in order to perform your best. When considering nutrition for competition or training, we want to ask ourselves, what am I trying to get out of this session? Am I trying to promote adaptation like I'm at a practice or working out? Or am I trying to perform my best because I'm at a tournament or taking a test? You want to make sure you're feeding your body optimally. You want to put into play every nutritional advantage possible to enhance performance and recovery. In this video, we'll mostly be covering how to fuel for performance. We want to do everything we can to provide the body with what it needs to operate at the highest level possible, even if that means supplementing to assist the body's natural abilities to perform and recover. The key takeaway is that there's a time to intentionally require your body to work for it to perform and recover, like in practice, and a time to use all our available strategies to help the body perform and recover as efficiently as possible for something like a tournament where we're looking for our best possible performance. One of the biggest differences between fueling for performance versus practice is whether or not we're eating antioxidants. If someone is trying to develop more muscle for a greater force output potential, like in training or practice, you might intentionally avoid any antioxidant supplementation post-workout, which would bypass the body's natural antioxidant production. We don't want our bodies to do that because we want to make sure that our bodies can produce the antioxidant component on its own and adapt and grow without supplementation. Versus when we're working for excellence or performance, then we will eat antioxidants because we want to reduce the inflammation to keep our muscle performance at its highest. When fueling for performance, you want to fight inflammation, replenish glycogen and electrolytes, and keep energized. You want to keep your performance as high as possible for long sessions of fighting or exercise. This is key for tournaments and especially key for events with multiple tournaments and melees or bear pits. Now let's break down our pre-training fueling, or what we're going to eat before the competition. It's very important to make sure we're hydrated before we compete. If we arrive to the competition underhydrated, by then it's already too late because it takes a while to get rehydrated again. You want to eat solid food meals, and these meals are best eaten 90 to 120 minutes before the tourney. This is ideal to minimize blood flow shunting towards our digestive system. But if we have less than 45 minutes until the competition, then liquid meals are your best option because they'll process faster. Now let's hop into what to eat. We want to eat a full meal with carbs, proteins, fats, veggies, and fruit because they all boost performance. While there are mixed results when consuming carbs before your workouts to boost performance per individual, it can often make a positive difference for most, and it really is worth testing. Adding carbs during pre-training or fighting can be especially effective for athletes who usually train or fight in a fasted state. If you don't have time to eat, or you don't have any solid carbs, or eating makes you sick before the competition, then a carb sports drink can be very beneficial. You want to drink it about 30 to 60 minutes prior to competition, and about 1 or 2 cups depending on how long the training is. If anything gets removed for calorie purposes though, this is what you would remove, or if you plan on carbing up during your training. Now let's hop into protein. 30 grams of protein is sufficient. It's going to help give you energy and help with your muscles not breaking down as much. Also, if you don't have time to load protein after your training, then you can eat your protein 90 to 120 minutes before your training and get those post-training effects for recovery purposes as well. All right, let's hop into fats because they have a large effect on performance as well. But you want to make sure you're eating good fats like nuts, seeds, fish, avocados. These are going to help you maintain and give you energy because your body doesn't only run on carbs for energy, but it runs on fats as well. You want as much energy stored as possible, especially for these long tournaments and events. Next up, we got vegetables. Vegetables like spinach and kale not only help reduce inflammation and keep you full, but they also increase performance. New research has found that eating nitrate-rich leafy greens like spinach and kale can produce muscle function and improve blood flow, enhancing your performance. Now let's cover some fruits like berries. Blackberries and cherries have a ton of polyphenols in them and are amazing for energy, recovery, and antioxidant. These are one of my favorite things for pre, post, and intra. Also, healthy sugars can be really useful, like ones from dark chocolates or berries. They can be used to help reset the mind when you're frustrated in between bouts. If you're not sure how to beat the opponent, or they're in your head, or you're getting a little too emotional or angry, then eating some of these sugars can help you reset that mind and get back on track. All right, let's cover some pre-competition extra performance boosters that we can do. One of them, the good old obvious, caffeine. Caffeine takes about 45 minutes to peak. When you are dosing with caffeine, don't take it before the tourney, like before you get to the tourney. You want to take it right when you get at the tourney. This way, the effects are hitting you midway through the tourney. You're already going to be amped up as soon as you get to the tourney, so eating the caffeine much earlier than that is just going to be a waste. Caffeine can help improve hand and eye coordination and aim, but if you normally drink a lot of caffeine, these effects are going to be reduced. 200 to 300 milligrams is the sweet spot for how much caffeine you want to take, and caffeine supplements are better than coffee. Some other good supplements are citrulline malate, which increases your output during high volume training. It increases your blood flow as well, which also increases your nutrient delivery. You want to take about 6 grams of this. Also, Betalite is a great option, and you're going to be taking that about 30 minutes before your training. It gives you nitric oxide so you can go longer, and it's great for older athletes, especially if you're 40 years or older, because our body's ability to produce nitric oxide fades within age. It also attenuates fatigue, and it works for long and short-term duration. All right, so let's get into one of the more neglected ones, our intra-training fueling, or what we're eating during the tournament or during the event and the competition that we're fighting in. Not enough people are eating here. Now, some of our goals are going to be to maintain our energy, ward off fatigue, and it can help with our post-fight recovery. We're mainly going to be doing this if it's a longer session or if we didn't fuel up beforehand properly. So if we're going to be active for 90 plus minutes or so, or if it's high heat and high intensity, like a lot of those big events are. All right, let's hop into what to eat during these competitions. We're going to be eating carbs, fats, and proteins, and a good amount of antioxidants. For our carbs, stuff like granola is great for energy, and it's really easy to bring and have with us. For our fats, nuts like pecans have a lot of good fats and antioxidants, and stuff like trail mix that has good dark chocolate and berries mixed in it as well to hit that fat and our carbs for good energy and a little bit of that good healthy sugar. For our protein and our fat, I also prefer to eat tuna. You could get the small bags from Walmart. They're only $1. Really easy to eat on the spot. And some kale and spinach to get those same effects we had talked about earlier with the increased blood flow. Also, we can have sports drinks or tart cherry juice. The sports drinks I prefer are the Body Armor drinks, as they are really low calorie, they taste good, and they give you a ton of the stuff that you need. Now, when it comes to carbs, athletes can usually use around about 60 grams of carbs per hour while exercising. And when it comes to our liquid carbs, it's definitely better to space them out than to have them in big chunks. So like 1 cup drink every 15 minutes or so. Also, if you add 10 grams of protein, you can almost cut in half how many carbs you need. It's better to do the carb protein mix for the muscle protective effect that you gain and the protein that it adds that can also help with that post-exercise recovery. Now, if you don't have time to eat between rounds or between fights, what you can also do is mouth rinsing, where you're essentially drinking some sports drink, but instead of swallowing it, you're just swishing it around in your mouth. This increases your performance because your oral receptors stimulate even though you didn't actually drink the drink itself. And I know some people get sick if they drink or eat during fighting, so this is another great option. Also, it doesn't impact your blood sugar levels, but if you're already topped up on carbs, then this doesn't give you as much as a benefit. Last up, post-training fueling. This is really important, especially if we have another tournament later that day or we fought for a really long time, especially in that high heat. So our goals are going to be recovery, reducing our inflammation, and to prepare us for our next tournament and re-energize us. We really want to get those electrolytes back that we lost. And a great way to do that is a full solid meal with protein, fat, carbs, veggies, and fruit. When it comes to our protein, we're going to be looking to stimulate and recover our muscles. Some other things we can take is creatine, about 5 milligrams a day, and L-carnitine and L-tartrate. This is going to increase our androgen receptors and reduce muscle damage. You take this about twice a day. Really good for performance days, especially long ones. And we want to eat a lot of antioxidants to reduce that swelling, especially if we have more fights coming up. Tart cherry juice, green black tea, or any of the previous stuff that we had mentioned before are going to be great in this situation. So that pretty much sums up our video. Feel free to research more into certain things. I didn't go too deep into supplements and stuff, but a good general rule of thumb on what I like to bring to a tournament is those packs of tuna, trail mix, any form of granola, snacks like that. Great and easy to eat in between rounds, especially those nuts and that trail mix. making sure to stay highly hydrated and bring a sports drink if needed. If you enjoyed this video and you want more good educational content for fighting, especially tournaments, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Like I said earlier, a full meal is preferred so that you can still hit those veggies, your fruit, your carbs, your fat, your protein, because you want to replenish all of those, especially if you have another fight again. Also, you're going to help reduce that muscle inflammation, that blood flow, stop the muscle damage, and all of these good things.